Discovered my husband's affair with my brother after 10 years of marriage. Opening. It was a Tuesday afternoon when I decided to clean out the closet in our guest room. Spring had finally arrived, and sunlight streamed through the blinds, catching dust particles in the air like tiny stars. I just pulled down a box of old photo albums, pictures from our wedding, vacations, birthdays, when my husband, Dan, texted. "Running late at the office again. Don't wait up." I sighed. This was the third time this week. 10 years together, and lately he'd been more distant than ever. When I'd asked him about it last week, he'd shrugged and said, "Work stress. You wouldn't get it." His phone, which he used to leave charging on the kitchen counter, now never left his pocket. I tried to ignore the tightening in my chest. Build up. The first red flag wasn't even about Dan, it was my younger brother, Jamie. He'd always been the fun uncle to our kids, showing up with pizza and bad magic tricks. But over the last 6 months, his visits had become strange. He'd linger after family dinners, making awkward jokes that only Dan laughed at. Once, I caught them exchanging a glance while I cleared the table, a split-second flicker of something that felt too intimate for brothers-in-law. Then there was the cologne. Dan started wearing a new scent, something musky and unfamiliar. Just trying something different, he'd said, but I'd smelled it before, on Jamie's scarf when he'd hugged me goodbye after Thanksgiving. 2 weeks ago, I woke up to Dan's phone buzzing at 2 a.m. He'd left it on the nightstand, which he never did. The screen lit up with a message. "Can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you?" No name, just a heart emoji. My hands shook as I stared at it. I told myself it was a wrong number, a prank, but I started noticing things. The way Dan flinched when I touched his shoulder, how Jamie's laugh sounded guilty whenever we were all together. The time I found Dan's gym bag in Jamie's trunk when he borrowed our car. "Saving him a trip," Dan said, too quickly. Betrayal moment. Last night, Dan fell asleep early, exhausted from work. His phone glowed on the charger, and before I could talk myself out of it, I typed in his passcode, our anniversary date unchanged for a decade. The texts were there. Hundreds of them. "Jamie, I hate lying to her." "Dan, me too, but you know we can't stop." "Jamie, what if she finds out?" "Dan, she won't. We'll figure this out together." Then the photos. Blurred hotel room ceilings, a hand, Dan's, threaded through someone else's fingers. Jamie's tattoo on a wrist I'd known since we were kids. I dropped the phone. My vision blurred. For a second, I thought I'd vomit. Emotional fallout. I spent the night on the bathroom floor, curled into a ball, replaying every family dinner, every inside joke, every time Jamie had hugged me a little too long. Had they been laughing at me? Was our whole marriage just a cover? The worst part? I couldn't even mourn in peace. Our youngest, Ellie, came in at dawn, crying from a nightmare. I held her, my tears soaking into her hair, and wondered how I'd ever explain to her why Daddy and Uncle Jamie weren't coming around anymore. I called in sick to work. Dan left for the office like nothing was wrong. I drove to Jamie's apartment, but halfway there, I pulled over and just screamed. How could they do this? Why him? Was I not enough, or was I too much? Cliffhanger. Now, I'm sitting in my car outside a divorce attorney's office. My hands haven't stopped shaking. The kids are at school, oblivious. Dan still doesn't know I know. But 5 minutes ago, Jamie texted, "We need to talk." Do I answer? TLDR. After a decade of marriage, I found out my husband and brother have been having an affair. Now I'm trapped between protecting my kids and burning my entire life to the ground.